Nuclear talks between 6 world powers and Iran could go on past a midnight, 2200 hours o'clock GMT, deadline, U.S. officials say. Representatives are reportedly preparing to issue a general statement focusing on points of agreement, which would be enough to allow for a new phase of talks on a comprehensive deal. But there is no sign that the most contentious issues have been resolved. The world powers want to restrict Iran's nuclear program in return for relief from crippling sanctions. The so-called P5+1, the US, UK, France, China and Russia plus Germany, are seeking to ensure Iran could not assemble a nuclear weapon in less than a year. Good chance. Foreign ministers met several times at Lausanne's Beau-Rivage Palace Hotel on Tuesday morning in a high-level push to meet the self-imposed deadline to agree a political framework agreement by the end of the day. Russia's top diplomat, Sergei Lavrov, announced that prospects were very good and promising, and said he was returning to the talks after leaving for another engagement on Monday. On Tuesday afternoon, a senior U.S. official said the meetings might go beyond the deadline if we are continuing to make progress, including into tomorrow, if it's useful to do so. The BBC's Barbara Plett-Usher, who is at the talks, says there is no sign that the most intractable problems have been resolved. Officials told the Associated Press that there were plans to issue a framework understanding, accompanied by documents outlining more technical details. This would be enough for all parties to continue negotiations in a new phase aimed at achieving a comprehensive accord by June 30, our correspondent says. After months of negotiations, she adds, the basic outline is well known: Iran would scale back the dimensions of its nuclear program and subject it to rigorous inspection for at least 10 years. In exchange, there would be an easing and eventual termination of UN, US and EU sanctions. However, there has not been an agreement on some of the key technical details and political trade-offs involved in making that happen. These are said to include: length of restrictions. Iran's nuclear activities would be strictly limited for at least 10 years. After that, Iran wants all limits to be lifted. The P5+1 says they should be removed progressively over the following 5 years. Sanctions relief. Iran wants the UN sanctions suspended soon after an agreement. The P5+1 says they should be eased in a phased manner, with restrictions on imports of nuclear-related technology remaining for years. Non-compliance. The US and its European allies want a mechanism that would allow suspended UN sanctions to be put back into effect rapidly if Iran reneges on a deal. Russia reportedly accepts this, but wants to ensure its Security Council veto rights are protected. Another point of contention is Iran's desire to be able to develop advanced centrifuges, which could enrich uranium faster and in greater quantities. While enriched uranium is used as fuel for nuclear reactors, it can also be used to make nuclear bombs. Adding to the list of issues to be resolved, Iran's lead negotiator ruled out on Sunday sending its existing stockpile of nuclear fuel abroad, one of the steps demanded by the P5+1. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is among the opponents of the proposed deal. On Tuesday, he warned it would reduce the time Iran would need to build a nuclear weapon, if it chose to do so, to under a year and perhaps far less than that.